So the first item tonight is a conditional use hearing. Council now calls to order a hearing on the conditional use application filed by Hallmark Building Group Incorporated. The application seeks approval to construct water and sewer lines within Zone 2 of the Riparian Corridor Conservation District on the property known as 1000 Park Ridge Road to serve the applicant's proposed development at 1001 County Line Road. Notice of tonight's hearing on the amended application was published as required by law, and it would be appropriate at this point for Mr. Walker to enter into records those documents relating to the filing of the application, public notice of the application. Bill?
Yes, sir. I have following exhibits to enter on behalf of the township. So Exhibit T-1 is a conditional use application dated August 5th, 2021. Exhibit T-2 will be the conditional use plan dated September 24th, 2020. The last revision date would be August 3rd, 2021. T3 is proof of publication for legal notice in the Intelligencer newspaper. T4 is notice to the Horsham Township Planning Commission dated August 9th, 2021. Exhibit T-5 is notice to residents dated August 9th, 2021. Exhibit T-6 is Gilmore and Associate Review letter dated August 23rd, 2021. Exhibit T-7 is Mikulski and Faber Review letter dated August 25th, 2021. Exhibit T-8 is E. Van Rieker, Land Planner, Review Letter, dated August 18th, 2021. Exhibit T-9 is the Horsham Township Planning Commission Draft Minutes of September 7th, 2021. And Exhibit T-10 is a letter from Venner and Wild, attorneys at law representing the property owner of 1000 Park Ridge Road, who is consenting and agreeing to the conditional use application. Those are all the township exhibits.
Okay. So if any person present this evening would like party status in this matter, it is necessary to let us know that now. Party status can be granted if you live close enough to the property to be aggrieved by the use proposed. Persons with party status may cross-examine the applicant's witnesses and may present witnesses of their own. Only a party may appeal the decision of council in this matter. If you do not request party status, you will still have an opportunity to express your opinion and tell council whether you would like to see the application granted or denied. Is there anyone present who would like party status? Okay, no hands are raised. I would like to take this opportunity to remind those of you here tonight that this hearing is being transcribed by a court reporter. Therefore, it is necessary that you not speak unless recognized by counsel. If you do speak, please give your name and address prior to making any comment so that the record attributes your remarks properly. I note that the applicant is present this evening, and I will ask the applicant to now proceed with his case.
Good evening, Rich Carroll with Hallmark Building Group, the applicant, here with Rob Cunningham from Holmes Cunningham Engineering, presenting the conditional use plan for the 1001 County Line Road, Romanow subdivision, now known as Oak Ridge. We're here before you tonight because there is a portion of our sewer line that is inside the riparian buffer. This line here represents the riparian buffer along Park Creek. Our sewer line comes down from the 1001 County Line Road property, comes down Park Ridge, across a portion of township property, through the Park Ridge property. This is the lines of the Park Ridge property here. Through a portion of the Park Ridge property and then over township property to the authority manhole just before the Park Ridge treatment facility. The portion that we're here for tonight is this portion directly inside the riparian buffer. The buffer, this area of Park Creek has significant elevation above the actual creek. Unlike the floodplain, which we are outside of the floodplain in this area, because of our elevation above the creek, the riparian buffer in this area does not take into account elevation. So the riparian buffer is a static 75 feet from the edge of the bank. So we are looking tonight to have granted a conditional use for this area of the buffer. As far as viability of the sewer through this area, this is the least disturbance possible. We were, via this property owner, Park Ridge Properties LLC, we were allowed to run in this specific area and not through the property. The only other plausible area was to come down here and run along Keith Valley Road or in Keith Valley Road, which is entirely in the riparian buffer of Park Creek. So this amounts to the most minimal disturbance that we can make of the riparian buffer. And given that we are at a significantly high point of the creek here, there's really no disturbance to the creek at all.
There's no way to run outside of that at all, before, like, on the other side, on this, I don't have a pointer unfortunately, but where you come down and you go into the corridor, you can't run along the outside of that at all?
Right here?
Yeah.
This area was not permitted for us to run in.
Oh, it's not permitted, okay.
Yeah.
That's because it's someone's property?
Correct. That property is owned by Park Ridge Properties LLC, and in granting us the easement to run the sewer, this was the location that they granted our easement for.
Eric, what are your thoughts?
We did issue an August 23rd, 2021 letter.
Speak up since you don't have a mic.
Eric Garten, for the record, also. We issued a letter. This is pretty straightforward. The difference with this application compared to what you're used to is they're not actually crossing the creek. You guys always get these applications when they're crossing the creek.
Right.
They're staying many feet above the creek. So this is, in some aspects, administrative more than anything. So we have no objection to you guys granting this application approval.
Anything further from you guys?
No, we have the review letters from Gilmore, McCluskey, Faber, Evan Reeker, and Montgomery County Planning Commission, and everything in the review letters is a will comply.
Bill, do you have anything? You're okay with everything?
Yes,
Mary, you're good?
I'm good.
Okay, so I guess at this point, we're going to close the hearing. And we will, I guess,
Render a decision within 45 days of this evening.
45 days? Okay. Very good. So this hearing is now closed. Here we go again. So now, council will hold a hearing on two ordinances, which, if adopted, would authorize the acceptance of two permanent easements in favor of the township for traffic signals. The first ordinance authorizes the acceptance of an easement at 3925 Welsh Road, and the second ordinance authorizes the acceptance of an easement at 730 Blair Mill Road. The ordinances include engineered plans showing the exact location of both easements. This hearing is your opportunity to express your opinion about the ordinances. I will ask our staff to provide a brief description of the ordinance, and council will take public comment.
These two ordinances, as council is aware of, this traffic signal and this project is coming from 132 Welsh Road Land Development Project. So that's the Wawa, the Chase Bank, and the Chick-fil-A project. When Goodman Properties built that and needed to get a HOP, highway occupancy permit from PennDOT, PennDOT put a condition on them as part of their permit that they had to install this traffic signal at the driveways to these two shopping centers on Blair Mill Road in closeness to this 132 Welsh Road. So it is goes back to that land development plan and approval and a PennDOT condition that they put on Goodman Properties. 730 Blair Mill Road is on the Horsham side. That's the Horsham Shopping Center owned by Goodman Properties, and the 3925 Welsh Road is the Willow Point Shopping Center on the Upper Moreland side. So and this signal will be a Horsham Township traffic signal. We'll own the signal after it is installed, but for it to get installed, we need these two easements, and they're very small on both sides of the road, so the traffic signal can be installed and then thus maintained.
Okay. Mary?
And council, by the conditions of your charter, can't accept an estate in real estate without adopting an ordinance authorizing the acceptance.
Okay. Eric, any comments?
No comments here.
Okay. Any public comment? Being none, is there anything from council? None up here, so the hearing is now closed, and council will consider the adoption of the ordinances later this evening. And now we wait. We have to wait till 8 o'clock, Bill? Mary, do we have to wait till 8 o'clock?
No.
I'm okay with moving.
The only thing that I would recommend is that shortly after 8 o'clock, have an opportunity for questions and comments from the public in case somebody shows up, but other than that, there's no reason.
Okay.
The Water and Sewer Authority. The Water and Sewer Authority is coming, but they weren't coming because their part of theirs is at your 8 o'clock meeting. So Terry and Tina both attending, but.
Where are they at? Oh, that's down the bottom.
Yeah.
All right, so by the time they get here, yeah. Okay. Council will now call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any comments or questions from the public? So far, so good. Okay. First is the update on our COVID-19, Bill.
COVID-19, so the Horsham Township's positivity rate, that's really some of the little good news that we've had in town over the last week. It has dropped again below 5%. We're at 4.84%. I believe last month it was 5.19%. So Montgomery County's total positivity rate is 5.66%. Pennsylvania's vaccination rate for full is 66.6, and for partial is 83.2. Something that we don't put up on the slide, which I think is just also good news to share, is Montgomery County. They also keep track of county vaccination rates. So in Montgomery County, everyone age 12 and up is 81%. So 81% of the county age 12 and up has gotten the vaccine. So I think that's good news for Montgomery County and its percentage for the vaccination rate. And that's the update.
Good. I forgot to ask you at the beginning, can you just give us a little update on the storm damage and what's been going on since?
Sure. So as everyone is fully aware, Upper Dublin and Horsham Township, Wednesday, September 1st, we were hit by a tornado and then a flood. The information that we've gotten from the National Weather Service, it was an EF2 tornado. It stretched for 8 miles through Upper Dublin into Horsham. It actually lifted shortly after Carpenter Park, Keith Valley Road, Park Road is where it lifted. The tornado was 400 yards wide, and it touched down in Upper Dublin around 5:35 and lifted off the ground in Horsham at 5:49. And there was a lot of weather information out there, weather warnings and stuff from the TV news media and stuff, but I know a lot of us get those scary beeping sounds from our phones. And I can't say from anyone else here, but for us here at the township, the staff of the township, when that went off and when it landed and came into Horsham, it was about 3 minutes. So there wasn't, from our phone warnings, not the weather TV station warnings, but from our phone warnings, it was very little time to react to it. And then after the tornado, we got 7 inches of rain in just a matter of a few hours. So that evening, we were dealing with the tornado's aftermath and destruction. We were doing water rescues. On the water rescues, I was amazed as I sat in our EOC, Emergency Operations Center, listening to the radio and the amount of people being swept away on their car roofs, being swept away. You know, these first responders, a lot of times we call them our heroes. That evening, I think they were our angels, too. We had a police officer swept away down at Davis Grove Road in Park Creek. And these volunteers, a lot of them are volunteers in these boats with flashlights, you know, at 11 o'clock at night, just going right after them into the creek with their boats. And they got them all. I thought we were going to have multiple casualties, multiple fatalities in Horsham with the amount of water rescues on top of the tornado. And some miracle, well, by miracle, no injuries and no casualties in Horsham. You know, unfortunately, Upper Dublin had a fatality with a tree falling on a roof and killing a lady. But we and our mutual aid municipalities from Bucks County and Montgomery County did an outstanding job. It was very scary, very scary. I've been with Horsham for 29 years, and I've never witnessed anything like it in my life. In Horsham, we have over 500 homes damaged at this point. I think, you know, we might be approaching 700 when it's all done. We have right now, with what we know, we're between 50 and 100 homes where the residents will be out of home from 6 to 18 months. And we probably have 3 to 6 homes that are totally destroyed, either by the flood or the tornado. And you know, our emergency management team and our code enforcement team have been feet on the ground, walking through the neighborhoods almost every single day, touching base with the residents, talking with the residents, asking questions. And the residents have been amazing, helping each other too. Our police officers, our emergency responders, our township staff, our mutual aid partners. But the residents just standing up, helping each other was amazing to see and amazing to hear their stories. My son was on Messenger with his iPad, 8 years old, with one of his friends that live in Windmere Downs. And when the tornado hit, the ceiling collapsed on his friend, but he lived. So very scary, very emotional for many of us that lived through it. But our staff did just a fantastic job. We can't ask for better staff. You know, and the other towns that came in, we have Abington, Hatfield Township, Sodderton Borough, and Lansdale. They've been with us all the way through, just helping us with whatever we need. And so sorry for getting emotional, but it's been a long 7 days in Horsham.
I know you've not slept well.
No.
And you know, I can only commend the people you just mentioned for all the hard work that they did and staying out there and doing that. It was an amazing thing that happened and devastating. And it's just amazing when you see people come together, you know, and you hear about it, but until you actually witness right in your own town, what people do for each other, it kind of makes you feel good about things.
Yeah, yes.
And
we live in a great community, and you know,
it's sad for the people that have lost their homes and the devastation that they're going through, and I know that our organizations will be there with them right through to the end, trying to do what we can. It's just an awesome job, and you can tell by the pile of trees across the street just how much damage was, and that's
And there's
probably
a lot
not
more
all
to
of
come.
it. Yeah.
There's a lot more to come. And, what these people are going to be living through for the next couple of years is going to be tough. Going to be tough for them in their neighborhoods. And, the Public Works Department and Dennis, a lot of towns across the country, they'll wait for PEMA, they'll wait for FEMA. And as council knows, with PFC contamination, we take care of ourselves here. And, the storm hit Wednesday night, and by Thursday afternoon, we had our Public Works crew and tree companies in the neighborhoods. And they haven't stopped since. And, we weren't worried about if we were going to get reimbursed by PEMA or, the county entering contracts with the state or the state entering contracts with the federal government or declarations being made by the governor or the president. We got to take care of ourselves. And we went right into the neighborhoods. It wasn't 24 hours after the storm, and we had tree companies, and the residents were just so happy. We were opening up the roads and, taking it away from the curb line. They were bringing the trees out to the curb line. We were working with PICO. PICO had their regional command center in our community center. So
They did a great job, by the
They
way.
did an outstanding job also.
No, we give them a hard time sometimes over the
We
stuff
do.
we have to do, but in this case, they stepped right up to the plate, and
And
I think they
I-
had everybody back and running by Sunday, right? Sunday night, mostly everybody.
Almost everyone from 6,000 to I think about 40 people left, 40 customers left Sunday night. So between Wednesday night and Sunday night, they got almost 6,000 customers back up. And they had between Horsham and Upper Dublin, I think they said 140 telephone poles snapped in the tornado path. So that's huge. They had companies from Canada here, actually out back in our community center, utility companies from Canada and all over the United States, and how quickly they got here was amazing. And then the work PICO did was just really amazing, because I thought it was going to be a couple weeks before everyone got electricity with the damage that I saw. So PICO did a fantastic job. Our CHATS organization, another, I don't know what we would do without them. I really don't. And they also organizing a food donation through St. Vincent de Paul at St. Catherine's for people that need food, and to restock their refrigerators that were out of electricity for a few days. And one thing I will ask, because I'm going to recommend it to you, is we would like you to consider, and the staff's recommendation to you, that building permits. A lot of people are going to be coming at us with building permits for new roofs, siding, windows, that we waive those fees for the residents.
I think that's the least we could do.
We'll put that in motion and in play tomorrow, that we will not charge any fees for building permits for storm damage.
Bill, what else can we do when people ask, how can they help? What would you recommend?
At this point, we have we're directing people that want to give, if they want to give cash, we recommend they give gift cards, but we give them to St. Vincent de Paul, because people that call us that are in need of things, we're directing them to St. Vincent de Paul and CHATS. So that's really, and just, sometimes you just can go into a neighborhood and see if anyone needs help. We don't like, because of liability reasons, to tell people, what to do with chainsaws and stuff, but the county has a program in place for elderly residents and residents that need help with tree removal on their private property. We've been, referring people to the hotline, the county hotline, for those issues, and they've been in town already, those volunteer agencies and organizations helping residents that can't cut up the trees themselves. So that's really where we're at.
And Bill, could you talk a little bit about the information and resources that are available through the website?
Yeah, we've been putting out a lot of information. Sometimes I can't keep up with it, and it's been going off here. We still have people working at 8 o'clock at night. So the new information is, so we were doing the tree removal, the curbside tree removal, or tree debris removal, for the last 7 days, and the county had entered into a contract with a company, so now the county's taking that over tomorrow. And we've been putting out the crisis hotline for residents. We put out the food donations if people are in need of food, to chat. So we've been putting all that information out. The biggest thing and I think most people have at this point, because we're 7 days into it, that we put out almost every single day, is you have to report the damage. There's a threshold that the county and the state have to turn into FEMA. And if they don't meet that threshold, then we're not getting FEMA assistance. So even if your insurance company covers the damage, we still need to know about the damage because it counts towards the threshold that FEMA has. So we really encourage, and we have a lot of damage reports. So we tell people, don't worry, every once in a while you had to have some humor in it. And, we got one that's, their picnic table umbrella blew away. So they put in for a new umbrella for their picnic table. And that's okay. We kind of laughed when we got it, but, they're doing what we asked them to do. You got damage, let us know, and we'll figure out if it qualifies or not. So, the staff's been working extremely hard. Matt Reinhardt, our fire marshal and emergency management coordinator, him and his wife welcomed their third baby Tuesday night. And Wednesday night, the storm hit. And he's been here ever since. And I had to chase him out to go see his new baby, to get out of the building and go home. So it's just the commitment and dedication that the staff has to the town. And the storm was horrible and devastating, but the staff, as I say, our staff and volunteers are amazing. We can't ask for better police officers, firefighters, and we are encouraging people to please be careful out there. As we know, we had with cleanup operations this past weekend, we had one death in town from a tree company employee that was killed, and we had a private resident that was critically injured when a tree fell on him when he was trying to cut his tree down. So we're encouraging those, slow and steady gets the job done safely. And so hopefully those are going to be the only two things to report to you while the cleanup proceeds. But it's going to be some time before we're back to normal, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And you had talked about the damage reports and the importance of filling them out. Can you share with us how we benefit if we do reach that FEMA threshold, and what if we don't?
So FEMA, that's really the only avenue that for financial assistance for private property owners, and it's residential. FEMA doesn't really cover private businesses and commercial businesses, so they're really there for the residents and homeowners. And if we qualify, what that provides is FEMA will then come into our community, and those people that either are uninsured or underinsured, FEMA will help cover their cost of repairs and cleanup. So that's why it's so important to, everyone to report your damage. Flood and tornado, we're so focused, and a lot of people are so focused on the tornado, but we had flooding throughout the township. We have a house on Olive Avenue behind Battalion 1 that got moved off its foundation by the flood. So we have two families that, that are affected by that. That house will have to come down, and FEMA will probably take that property. But so we are dealing with, and I want the people to know we're not forgetting about the people that were flooded that weren't touched by the tornado. We're dealing with both.
A flooding damage bill, does that cover just about like someone's basement floods and they have to, repair, throw stuff away, new carpets or whatever? Is that part of what they can?
We'll get those guidelines from FEMA if we meet that threshold. So there are some guidelines where FEMA is, they don't look at basements sometime as part of the, house structure, and then sometimes they do. So we'll get all that information once FEMA, hopefully comes into town and sets up an office and helps, starts helping the residents. And we will be having the Montgomery County, they're concentrating on the vegetative debris collection right now, but we put out a post just before you started meeting that there will be, we don't have a date set, but The county is also going to be collecting in the damaged areas only, and that's where we have to be very careful about. But large appliances, TVs, electronics, rugs, carpeting, all of that's household stuff, household hazardous waste. Any home that has that stuff, they will will hopefully get more information in the next 48 hours, and that collection will start next week. So people will be able to put out sofas, stuff that was damaged in the flood or the tornado when they ripped off your roof and flooded your home with the rain. They'll be able to start putting out those household items next week. But we'll be putting more information out about that too. And we are concentrated in the areas that were impacted by the tornado and the flood, and we know what those areas are. My neighborhood was not, but there were strong winds. We were right, a quarter mile away from the tornado, and I have branches down in my yard, but we are getting those calls from people, well, I wasn't in the path of the tornado, but, I had a tree branch come down, and we're not coming. We're not coming. We're concentrated in the areas, the tornado path and the flooded areas, and that's where we're going to collect this stuff.
What's the deadline for people to fill out that damage report on the website to meet the FEMA threshold?
They can fill it out anytime, but FEMA's already been in town, and they've already taken those assessment numbers and reports back with them. So I believe I saw a news alert that the governor has asked the president to declare a declaration for the Commonwealth, and that's what we need, and that's what we're hoping for.
So Bill, on the waiver of building permits, maybe it's a Mary question. Do we need a motion for any of that then, when that happens?
I think that would be appropriate, yes.
So, you want that now?
Yes, sir. They're starting to come in.
Somebody bold enough to make a motion?
It would be a motion to waive the building permit fees for residents.
Can you get closer to the mic, please?
Or turn it on. For residents who are repairing storm, or seeking permits to repair storm damage. Is this residents or businesses and residents, Bill?
Businesses and residents.
So that would be.
Change that to business and residence.
Then we'll do it later. You want to written up and we'll do it later?
Okay, I'd like to offer a motion to waive the building permit fees for residents and businesses seeking relief from damages resulting from,
Seeking
to repair the damages associated with the storm on September 1st, Hurricane Ida.
Second.
That's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And if you're talking with people out there in the community, please make them beware that any contractor, any reputable contractor is going to come to the township to get a permit. So please stress, and we're going to be putting that out too on social media and on our website. There's a lot of people coming into town, a lot of contractors starting walking through the neighborhoods. They need to get township permits to do any work.
So just to wrap that up, we can't thank everyone involved enough for the efforts that they put in, but, personally want to thank you and Dennis and your staff, everyone that was involved in, working your way through this. I know we spoke a lot on the phone during this whole thing and after, and, just keeping me updated on things, and you were very, very tired, I could tell. And you worked really hard. I'm sure, Dennis, you did as well, and your whole staff. So, on behalf of council, I think I can speak on behalf of council. I think we owe you all a lot of gratitude. So thanks again. Okay, so the next thing is the update on the PFAS issue.
And because of the storm, I don't have an update like I normally do. Didn't have the time to chase down some of the updates for you this evening, but we'll have them for you. I'll have them for you next month. So the long-term remediation action plan, wells 10, 17, and 21, The Water and Sewer Authority will be advertising for bids tomorrow, September 9th, and they're expecting to receive the bids in mid-October for that project. The Navy for wells number 10 and 17, the Navy has completed their geophysical logging as part of their off-site investigation, and the Water and Sewer Authority is waiting for the Navy to schedule for Packer testing now. So that's where that stands. Nothing new on these wells. Of course, anything in red is what's new for the last 30 days. The North Wales Water Authority, their most recent test is 2.5 parts per trillion, and that was in July. Private wells, there is no new update on them. The Park Creek Treatment Plant, for July and August, the effluent range has been floating between 44 and 49 parts per trillion combined. Since we've been testing the effluent coming into the treatment plant, the average is 27.2 parts per trillion combined. The Myriad grant-funded projects to the Horsham Water and Sewer Authority, with house connections, phase 1. Now 44 of the wells have been permanently abandoned. The contractor just received meter pits to complete the remaining house connections. As council knows, there's been a supply issue with the meter pits. With water main extensions for phase 1, McKean and Welsh Road, they're looking, August 30th has passed. So they were looking to break ground, but I think that got delayed with the storm. So they're hopefully going to be starting the extensions on McKean and Welsh roads shortly. Phase 2, which is Davis Grove Road between Keith Valley and Coons, 6 property owners have accepted the offer, 1 rejected. They had 1 no response, and 1 property owner is waiting for sample results to confirm eligibility. Recently, the authority has submitted to the township conditional use application to the township because they had to cross Park Creek for that water main, so they'll be in front of you in a future date for that application. And they are planning to receive bids today for that project. I do not have any Navy or Air Guard stormwater management updates for you from last month. I did not have the time to reach out to either one of them. The wastewater discharge permit between our Water and Sewer Authority and the Air Guard. Our Water and Sewer Authority staff suggested smoke testing the line since the video survey was done during dry weather. And they did meet with Air Guard folks, and they're preparing a permit amendment for consideration by the Air Guard, and that is the Air Guard would like to send their some of their water to the sanitary sewer discharge relating to their treatment system that they just constructed for their drinking water supply on base. So the Water Authority is working with them on that. No new updates. Next week is the next RAB meeting, September 15th, 2021 at 6 o'clock. It will be a virtual meeting again, hopefully their last virtual, but it will be virtual. We'll be putting that information out on our social media and website to the residents that want to join. The National Health Study is on hold. They are not having success hiring people for their office here in Pennsylvania, as well as nationwide. We're not the only ones affected by it, so it's a staffing issue that's pausing that study right now. And nothing new on the timeline, and nothing new on the recap.
Okay, thank you, sir. We're tabling minutes?
Yes, I do not have them ready for you, so they will be on your September 27th agenda.
So do we have a motion to table?
Move to table the minutes.
Second.
Move second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Treasurer's report.
The balance in the general fund as of August 31st, 2021 is $6,151,855.35. For the most part, the activity in all funds reflects budget expectations for August, with revenues in the general fund at 90.21% of budget and expenditures at 57.34% of budget. It's not here, and it did happen on September 1st, but this storm will have an effect on our budget until we get reimbursed, hopefully get reimbursed by the federal government, but that'll be next year when we get reimbursed, not this year. For a more detailed presentation of our current financial position, I would refer you to your monthly booklet.
Okay, we have 3 motions for checks.
Just real quick, Mr. President, for the motions. So the first motion is ratification of a list of checks. As you are aware, your 4th meeting in August, we had, as you know, we're out of Director of Finance right now, and end of summer vacations in the Finance Department. We weren't able to get you a list of checks, but we had to get the checks out so we wouldn't get any penalties or late fees. So they were signed and sent out, so you're just ratifying them. That's your first motion.
Okay.
I move to ratify the list of checks in all funds in the amount of $108,407.84, and further move to authorize payment of the same. I move to approve the list of checks in all funds in the amount of $669,572.93, and further move to authorize payment of the same. And lastly, I move to ratify the U.S. Bank credit card transactions for the month of August 2021 in the amount of $2,277.33.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Consider resolution waiver of land development for Workspace Property Trust.
This is the waiver that you saw regarding their exterior patio at 100 Lakeside Drive. The resolution is ready for your consideration this evening.
Any questions? Do we have a motion?
I move to adopt the resolution as proposed, granting a waiver of land development with conditions for Workspace Property Trust, 100 Lakeside Drive, for an exterior patio.
Moved in second. This is a roll call vote.
Mr. Gallagher, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hill Milborn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbitt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next is to review a request for a waiver of land development from the Horsham Water and Sewer Authority.
As council knows, as part of the short-term remediation plan that was implemented by council and the Water and Sewer Authority, wells 10, 17, and 21 got temporary GAC treatment systems placed on them. And they are proceeding now with permanent systems. And I think that this is a project funded by the United States Navy. So it is a project funded by the United States Navy, and this was our plan all along to switch these temporary units to permanent. And as time has gone on, some of the good news is we don't have to have GAC units. We have the ion exchange units, which are a little bit smaller than the GAC units. But with us this evening is Tina O'Rourke from the Water and Sewer Authority and Terry Funk, the engineer at the Water and Sewer Authority, to just review your request for each of the 3 wells.
Yeah, so,
Terry, don't want you to use a mic. Use a mic.
Up there. I like you, but yeah.
Wrong one. You got to use the other one. Terry, use the other one. That one doesn't work. Sorry.
okay, this is more complicated than I expected.
I know. We don't make it easy on you.
Terry, just for your, I got what you sent me, if you just want me to pop it up each of the wells.
Yeah, if council wants to look at the plans for each of the wells, just to give a sense of location.
Called 10.
Okay. So well 10 is on Brewmore Drive, and on all 3 sites, it works best now with these sites to knock down the existing well house. Council's been to several of the other GAC sites where we added a new building and in most cases retain the existing well house. The size of the treatment units and ion exchange combined with just the operations of the system at this point allow us to take down the existing well buildings and build a single new treatment building that will include the original well and original well house piping.
This is, if I can get my pointer here, so this is Brewmar Drive here. This is the existing one. This is our playground. If you're familiar with Maple Park, this is our playground here. This is the existing, and then this is showing what it will, the new location, and here's our playground where it exists.
So if you can see the outline, the left is the demolition plan. The back right of that hatched area is the existing well house. So you can see that the footprint, once you add the new building, is about twice what the old building was. But again, still much less intrusive than it was when we were adding a full, much bigger building for the GAC systems. And the overall impact in terms of footprint of the area is virtually unchanged. Go to,
Questions on Will
any
10?
questions on well 10? Okay, well 17 is right next to the high school. That is Horsham Road. There's a long driveway off Horsham Road.
And this is the driveway, and then this is Joseph's
That's
Catering over
Joseph's
here. and
Catering.
This is
and the
high school down
is
here.
back there. So again, if you scroll down a little bit, Bill, the demolition plan is on the bottom, and you can see there, again, the footprints are similar. You can see the outline of the existing well house that will come down, and the new building is really only a little bit bigger than the old building. Everything in terms of driveway is really just replaced in kind. At well 17, the new driveway will be a little wider. It's a narrow driveway, and we do need the ability to get a full tractor trailer back there. But other than that, the layout is virtually identical, except we'll have a nicer new building and some upgraded new fencing from a exterior standpoint. It will certainly be more aesthetically pleasing from the outside, just because it'll be new, but it will be a little bit bigger.
Okay, well 21.
Well, 21, we were before council a couple months ago to request an easement. Again, if you scroll down a little bit, the existing well house is on the opposite side of Jarrett Road. And that property, although owned by the authority, is very small and will not fit the footprint necessary for the new treatment building. So
This is just
that's
if I just
Babylon
polish
Road.
it, this is Babylon here, this is Jarrett Road here, this is Gregory Drive here, this is our library property here.
So the dashed line on the furthest outside is actually a temporary construction easement. The actual easement limits are the dashed line closer to the well house that will contain the new treatment facility. The actual well for well 21, if you see the arrow leader in text all the way to the left in Gregory Drive, the well is actually in the middle of a little traffic island there in Gregory Drive, and it pumps across an easement on that property. And as I said, the existing well house will come down, and we'll just extend piping from where the old well house was across Jarrett Road to the new treatment facility on within the easement on the library property.
Already, when they were in front of you, you had brought up some concerns about the facade, and they did, just to show you, this looks much different than the other ones that they've done. They did try to incorporate the stones and stuff to match our library.
Yeah, so we have this, we went and took some pictures of the library and took them to our structural architectural engineers, and they revised the architectural drawings to do a flagstone veneer, basically at the same ratio at least that you see over the library, flagstone, and then some blocks, masonry stone, and then siding up top. So it should, and we'll get some samples before of actual colors, and we'll certainly bring them over for Township to look at and have some input on what the colors will look like, so that, we're aesthetically, again,
I think
pleasing.
staff could handle that, right?
Yes.
You don't need us for that, really. No.
That's a 3-hour meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
I know engineers don't enjoy it. We happily hand those samples over to staff and say, tell us what you want. So I think that is the extent. There is existing curb and sidewalk on Jarrett Road on the side where the new treatment building will go, so that will remain. and be restored as necessary if there's anything damaged during construction.
Questions up here?
Gary, what's your schedule, with,
So the PFAS update showed that we were waiting till after tonight to advertise the project, just in case there was anything that council wanted us to consider. But we do plan to advertise it either tomorrow or Friday. We're doing our last touches on the plans and specs. Our bid opening is scheduled. We usually like to advertise 4 weeks. So our bid opening is scheduled for October 12th. We are going to have, the same old story about supply chain issues with the treatment vessels themselves. I believe that will be the kind of the schedule driver for the project. Right now, we have an overall contract time of, I believe, 270 days, 9 months, again, start to finish. So a lot of that, we're hoping they'll get submittals in and we'll get the treatment vessels themselves reviewed, approved, and out for fabrication. And while they're under fabrication, the contractor will be working on certainly a lot of other things that need to happen before they arrive, site work, concrete, all that kind of stuff. They usually, again, I'm sure a lot of council remembers, they usually build 4 walls around and then bring these treatment units in with a crane and drop them in before putting the roof on. But at start to finish, what we saw with the GAC systems was about 9 months. We do have some concerns about supply chain that could affect that and make it a little bit longer, but we would love to have these back in service, for at least part of next summer or, towards the end of next year. They do, the authority's done great with supply, thanks to a lot of other GAC systems that have gone up and new interconnects and a lot of work, but every source you add back to the system provides another level of comfort and another resource, which, if the last week didn't tell us anything, is that you can never have too much backup. So the authority fared very well in the storm and did not have supply issues, despite having a very large source down. Had enough other options that they were able to keep the water flowing in the township. And just to echo what Bill said, what the authority staff did to get generators up and running and wastewater plant operating around the clock without power. It's right off Keith Valley Road. They did a great job, but this is what we learn. No matter how resilient and reinforced you think you are, there's always more work to do. So this will be a welcome back addition to the Horsham water supply system.
Awesome. I'm just going to say a different question, though. So with the storm, I mean, how did the sewer treatment plant fail? How did they fare, given all that infiltration?
Yeah, they were operating. Tina, you can help me out. I want to say about at least twice hydraulic capacity, probably 3 times rated capacity at the height of the storm. They did okay.
And, without power they got power back on Sunday. So it was manned 24 hours while it was running on generator.
It's amazing. So you didn't skip a beat?
I'm sure a couple hearts skipped a beat, but things kept flowing, and that's the most important thing. And as Bill says, people that you take for granted leaving their families and sleeping at treatment plants overnight just to make sure nothing's going wrong. It's incredible. They really do. They do a great job. And the treatment plant is obviously located in the low area of the township, so it wasn't even easy to get there when they had to change shifts with everything. It was one of the roads that was closed, and they got through it, and I didn't want to bother. I'm a resource for the authority whenever they need me, but I don't want to bother them when they're busy enough on their own, so I tried to not call right away. And when Tina and I finally touched base, and she was able to tell me that the tank levels, one of the first things you look at is your levels in your tanks. Water level was, holding steady, and everything at the wastewater treatment plant was running. No impact to the pump stations. I mean, it was really incredible. And one of DEP's requirements this year for all water systems was to file what's called an uninterrupted system service plan for situations just like this, where some type of event occurs Are you able to provide a continuous supply of potable water to your residents? And I want to say that they probably certified that they could do that about 3 weeks before this storm, because that was due like the middle of August. And, got tested like they could not imagine right afterwards, and were able to do it. So hats off to them.
Upper Dublin was coming pretty close, right?
Upper Dublin.
Seeing online.
Oh, yeah, Aqua serves most of Upper Dublin's water supply, and I know they did have to go to conservation measures and ask and matter of fact, I think they still are asking residents to discontinue non-essential water use, which is always a scary thing. We can all stop watering our lawns and washing our cars for a while, but you never know how long. They have a treatment plant that's down, and they're not sure how long it's going to be down. And another Ambler serves part of Upper Dublin also, and even though they have a lot of resiliency and a lot of backup power, in a stroke of luck, they had a tree fall on a generator. So, one of their higher producing wells that had backup power was not able to use it. They were just able to get a portable generator there in the last couple days to bring that back online. Yeah, a lot of challenges with water suppliers around the area.
And that's why the interconnects that we've been working on for the last 5 years are so important as well.
It is, and we can let interconnects. We have 2 interconnects with North Wales that are used regularly, and a third that's considered an emergency. And don't you know that the one location we did not have backup power, where there's a booster pump that moves water from one location to the other, prevented us from moving water from one zone to another zone, but we had an emergency interconnect in that other zone, so they could open that second interconnection from North Wales, and again, just becomes a wonderful resiliency resource to, like anything, our natural resources, we take advantage of them until they're not there, so.
So Tina, just pass along our gratitude as well to your staff and everybody that again stayed up all night making sure that everyone could flush the toilet.
That's right.
Because honest to God, you take that for granted.
You do. Do.
Even during these worst times, it's like you still do your thing and you don't think twice about it, and somebody's out there, doing the dirty work. So if you would do that, that would be greatly appreciated. Are there any questions at all on the presentation tonight? Up here? Bill, what's the next step? then?
I'd like, the next step, it doesn't sound like it's going to interfere with their schedule whatsoever. I know in the past, because there has been some time sensitivity in the past when they've been implementing these remediation plans, they've been in front of you and asked for approval the same night. However, that's a record-keeping issue with us about what's approved, and usually these are done by resolution. So unless there's a reason, and I didn't hear one, that if we could just, council, you'd consider a resolution at your September 27th meeting. And that's just for record-keeping purposes on our part of who we gave waivers of land developments out to, and that's how our resolutions are how we keep track of things. And in fact, when they came to us for this, the minute they submitted it, I said, oh, let me go back to the resolutions of the and I'm like, oh, that's right, we didn't give them a resolution. But when future people come on council and future staff come in the future, they'll have the official records of the township, and if there was any conditions put upon them, and that official approval was given to them.
Do that the
So-
fourth Monday, but they're good to go now.
Yes.
Okay,
All right,
great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, before you go, just real quick, since you guys came in a little late, I know you were out in the lobby, but we started our meeting a little bit early, so you're still considered public. So is there any public comment? Okay, I just had to ask again, just to be sure. Thank you. All right, so you guys have been waiting all night. Now it's your turn again. So we're going to review the Hallmark Building Group's land development.
And this is their final plans and the final review. As you know, this is a by right 50-lot, single-family residential plan for what we refer to as Romillo, but the name has now changed to Oak Ridge. And they did receive recommended final land development approval from the Township Planning Commission. They have, you have all their review letters, and they're here for a review this evening.
and hope that at your next meeting, they can get final approval from you. So it's just a review this evening.
Okay, good evening. Again, it's Rich Carroll from Hallmark Building Group and Rob Cunningham from Holmes Cunningham Engineering. Tonight, we're looking for final comments to our plan at the Oak Ridge, formerly Romillo subdivision. We received the conditional preliminary approval back on April 26, 2001. Since that time, we've added a walking path around the outside of the community on the Keith Valley roadside and also up the County Line roadside. We have received, so the walking path is now here along County Line Road, comes down and comes into Keith Valley, comes up, connects into the interior sidewalk network. That is the biggest plan change aside from some engineering items that we addressed between preliminary and now. We've received the comments and the review letters from Gilmore, McCluskey, and Faber, E. Van Rieker, Montgomery County Planning Commission. The majority of them will comply. We can discuss any of those items that you'd like tonight. The two things that we do need to discuss on the review letters are the waiver request on the Gilmore and Associates review letter of July 23rd. The waiver request from requirements to install frontage improvements, including curb, sidewalk, and widening along Keith Valley Road and County Line Road. County Line is currently undergoing a PennDOT widening project, and they are not taking any more of the frontage than they've already taken. They already have a right-of-way from Keith Valley up to and past what would be Tulip Drive here in Warrington Township, which is directly adjacent to our new entrance to the Oak Ridge subdivision. So we're looking for a waiver on that. And then the other one is internally, the driveway elevations, the driveway slope elevations. Rob can probably explain it slightly more eloquently than I can, but your township ordinance requires the driveways not to be a certain percentage because of the slope of our lots. We are entering at a stable, flatter area and rising to a flatter driveway parking pad. So that intervening stem is now it's now not in compliance with the ordinance. It's not a safety issue. Did I?
So the ordinance permits a maximum driveway slope of 8% at any point. Ordinance also wants a flat level area when you come off the road. So we have the flat level area coming off the road. We would like to go up to 10% so we can level it out at the house. So these are all side-loaded garages. You have the nice area where the kids can play basketball and kind of utilize their driveway. It's just in between those 2 points. We'd like to go from 8 to 10%. We think that it allows us to work with the grade that's out there, minimize our disturbances, and still provide kind of the two level areas.
How many homes does this affect?
It's probably 8 to 10. It's the ones north up County Line Road. Yeah, those in that area mainly. For the majority of the site, the lots are relatively flat, so the driveways are compliant. But it's basically the 8 around the side of the horseshoe there. Yeah.
Eric, do you have any comments on that?
Oh, sorry, Mayor.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was asking Rob if he had a, I noticed that item is on page 2C10 of the Gilmore letter.
Correct.
But I don't see a section number for it. Do you have a section number for the waiver you're requesting?
Yes, it's 198-33, B, parentheses 3.
Thanks.
We don't have an objection because it's a small number of lots. I think the official waiver should be for those lots, not just a blanket waiver for the entire community. We don't want them just jacking up houses for no good reason. This is needed because of the natural slope of the ground to make it all work. I don't want them on the bottom of the site just putting these houses up.
You could be specific in your waiver request then, to the
Yes.
number of homes.
Yep.
Which homes, I guess, which lots?
Correct.
Does this create water, runoff any,
8% versus 10% isn't going to change, you know. Yes, will the water go down a little faster, but it's not going to cause any erosion or stormwater issues.
Rob, you'll email us the specific lots that are affected by this?
Yes.
Thanks.
And the first waiver, the request was for
The road widening.
road widening, right? So is everybody okay with that one? Because I know we just went to number 2.
And then, yeah, that's both Keith Valley and County Line.
Is that it?
That's it for points that we need to bring up. We're available to discuss anything else that you guys would like to touch on.
The rest of all will comply?
Correct.
Everything good on the McCluskey and Faber letters?
Yeah, yes.
So we're pretty much good to go then, right?
Yeah, I think as Mary, if we're going to consider approval at the next meeting, that we word it with the replacement trees, as we told Rich, that we would work with them, that it
It'd be a township project in place of, and Mary knows the wording that we usually use on that. It's not designating a project, but it leaves the door open for replacement trees, that he could do a project in town in place of replacement trees. In addition, is this in the area zone? That's,
I'll check. If it is, that provision will go into the final resolution. I'll explain what that is, Johnson.
that's all.
Okay, good luck.
All
We're
right.
good, yep.
Thank you.
And we're gonna
hopefully be ready for your September 27th meeting for
Last Monday
your
in September,
consideration
okay.
for final approval. Rich, if you get final approval on the 27th, what's your schedule? I know we have paperwork to do after that, but when are you hoping to break ground?
As soon as possible. We still have a little bit of permitting that we need to do, NPDES, which everything is submitted. We're waiting for the agencies to return permits at this point, but we're hopeful that we can get in the ground this fall.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next item is the MS4, but we're gonna skip that one tonight.
Yeah, we got the table that the staff was not able to rehearse and prepare ourselves for the presentation due to the storm.
Hey, do we have a motion to table?
Move to table the proposed presentation on MS4.
Second.
That's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Sorry about that.
No.
Next is consider the ordinance for the deed of traffic signal easement on 730 Blair Mill, and then the next one would be the 3925 Blair Mill.
At Walsh Road. I'm
Walsh Road,
sorry
I'm
for the
sorry.
confusion, but yeah, the 3925 is Walsh Road.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that. I'll let you go this time, buddy. We have motions for those two?
I move to approve the ordinance as proposed for the deed of dedication of traffic signal easement at 730 Blair Mill Road for the installation of a new permanent traffic signal at Blair Mill Road and Horsham Gate, Willow Point Shopping Center driveways.
Been moved to second. This is a roll call vote.
Mr. Gallagher, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hill Milborn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbitt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next is for 3925 Welsh Road.
I move to approve the ordinance as proposed for the deed of dedication of traffic signal easement at 3925 Welsh Road for the installation of a new permanent traffic signal at Blair Mill Road and Horsham Gate / Willow Point Shopping Center driveways.
Second.
Moved and second. Again, a roll call vote.
Mr. Gallagher, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hill Milborn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbitt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Looks like we've come to the end of the paper, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
Moved and second, meeting adjourned.